Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to Couch Conversations to our next episode. I'm so excited, you guys. Listen, we are talking about real raw conversations here, and if you think it's going to be a trigger for you, the best thing to do is either just go ahead and pass by this episode because it's going to be deep. We're going to get in there deep, okay? So today I have Miss Robin Major-Oliphant. She is a transformational leader, author, and a publishing executive with a dynamic background in healthcare, operations, and project management. She currently serves as a project manager where she oversees multi-million dollar customer projects and leads strategic initiatives in planning, execution, and risk mitigation. Robin holds a bachelor's of art in organizational management from the Forbes School of Business at Ashford University, graduating with honors and distinction. Come on now, somebody. With over 2 decades of experience spanning supply chain, operations, engineering, and business development, Robin brings a unique blend of analytical precision and people centered leadership to every endeavor. Her certifications in project management, leading change adoption, and business leadership reflect her commitment to continuous growth and impactful leadership. Welcome to the couch, Robin.
Thank you
Hey,
so much. Hey, girl. Hey, I am so
hey.
happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I
You are
appreciate
so
it.
welcome. You are so welcome. It is so weird. We always thought that we knew each other.
Yes, yes. My whole time I'm thinking you my cousin from Detroit. So
That
too
always
funny.
tickles me. That
Yes.
always tickles me. Robin, you sent me a few books, girl. Listen, and I started with this book, From Pieces to Peace, Damaged Goods,
Mhm.
and it didn't even. I'm almost done with it, and it didn't even take me a whole day. Like this
Yeah.
book is so good, and when I say it's good, I'm saying it's good because it's like it's almost as though you wrote it as though I am sitting on a couch watching it on the TV screen. Like, girl, no.
And that's exactly how I wanted it to read, especially because a lot of people aren't reading these days. And I published that in 2018, but I
Wow.
started writing it in 2008. And so I wanted to make sure that people who aren't into reading could still be captured by the story
Yeah.
without getting bored by it or, you know, not being not reject the fact that it's a book and they don't want to read
Yeah.
it. Because a lot of people
Hmm.
would prefer to hear it, they would prefer to do an audio book, which I'm actually working on, but they would prefer that over reading it. So I'm just so happy because a lot of people have come to me and said, I don't even read books, but girl, you got me reading again. So
Right.
yeah, I'm happy that
Right.
it translated on that level.
Yeah, it did. I'm gonna tell you the truth. It really did. And you're right about that. A lot of people just don't read anymore, and I'm
Mhm,
thinking it's because of all this social media,
mhm, mhm.
this technology and all this stuff that's going on. But people don't even realize you can get Audible books
Yeah.
and read. I love to read. I
Mhm.
love to read. But I'm telling you, this book right here, From Pieces to Peace, honey, it's
Yeah.
almost though I seen my whole life. Like I was like, I don't even know this girl, and we met by accident. Well, nothing by accident, but you know what I mean.
Right.
And I said,
Yeah.
she's over here telling my story in her book.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
I wanted to know what when you say peace, when you say pieces, what are some of the hardest pieces of yourself that you had to face?
Oh, the broken pieces. When I say pieces, I'm talking about the broken pieces, lack of self-worth. I talk about how I was broken down. So growing up, I didn't really have an issue so much with my self-esteem. My issues with self-esteem came by having toxic relationships, whether it be family, whether it be friendships, whether it be, romantic relationships. Those things were the things that broke me down and broke me into pieces. And I would say that was the biggest struggle was getting back to myself and remembering who I truly was and gaining my confidence back.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think that like what was some of the moments you realized like nah yeah I can't do this no more. I'm not staying like this. Something has to change because I
Oh.
and when I was reading your book it seemed like there was multiple times when you was getting ready to get there but then you was
Hmm.
like pulled back.
Hmm.
So
So
when was that time?
I will say that time had to repeat. That was a cycle that I consistently found myself in. That cycle where I'm almost out of it, but then I'm pulled back in. Because I'm a super empathetic person, and I'll call it what I now know it as is the God complex. I didn't think of myself as a God, but at the same time, I didn't want to leave this person behind because of their mental health or their daddy left them or they don't have nobody. And so I felt like I had to be that person for
Yeah,
those people, and it was to my own detriment. So
yeah.
to say when that time was, the final time when it really came and I stopped sacrificing and abandoning myself for other people, honestly, that only happened a few years ago. And you'll find that as you read the series because it's a three-part series.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually interviewing this other Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling her, and it was so eerie. We got off the call. I was told her, I said, well, I just really started this journey like 11 years. I'm 59. And I just
Yeah.
started this journey like 11 years ago. And I
Yeah.
said, it seemed like it's been a really long time since I've been on this journey to really find out who I am and
Mm-hmm.
where I need to go in life and why am I here and all that good stuff. But it's only been
Yeah.
11 years. We get
Yeah.
off the call and she sends me this screenshot where it was something from 11 years ago where she was speaking about, and I was like, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. Yes.
Wow. That's
But
alignment there.
yes. So so you say that you don't feel like it was just like a one thing, like you woke up and there was an aha.
No, there wasn't. I've had several of those aha moments. For instance, this is a spoiler alert because I know you didn't finish that one.
That's okay. That's okay.
That aha moment was, I saw my window of opportunity to get away. I tried to get away from Rodney. Um, Rodney, I do
Yeah.
air quotes. I
Yeah.
tried to get away from Rodney so many times, and the different ways that I went about it, they weren't fruitful. And so when I saw a true clear path to get away,
Yeah.
that's when I did. And in that moment, that was one moment where I was like, I could never go back to that.
Yeah.
And so it just depends. I feel like when it comes to, evolution of self, healing and peace, one
Mhm.
thing that I think I have gotten wrong for the majority of my life, and I think a lot of people get wrong, is that it's a final destination, and it's not. It's infinite.
Right.
It is infinite. And if you
Hmm.
don't keep working at those things, keep evolving yourself, keep trying to cultivate your peace, um, you'll get stuck and you'll be stagnant in one place and then trying to figure out like, oh, how did I end up here again? Because you never left.
Right.
So,
Right. Oh, that's good. That's good. That is true. That's true. And I found myself in those cycles. And that's one of the things that I've been trying to do. I'm
mhm,
really trying to pay attention to my cycles and
mhm,
my patterns. And
mhm,
because I couldn't understand, well, why am I here again? Like, why am I here? Why has this been done again? Or why do these people keep doing this to me?
yeah,
Right. And now I finally realized that, babe, it's because you keep going, in this cycle. You keep and here's the thing. People can see, especially those who want to use you for
mm-hmm,
their own good. They
hmm.
know your patterns.
Yep,
They know your cycles.
yep,
They know. And when they see you trying to get out of that cycle, they try to draw you back in.
yep. They
And
love
it's the
bomb
truth.
you and they do the
Mhm.
different manipulative things to try to win you back over. Absolutely.
So, Robert, I want to ask you this too. I want to know about this phrase, damaged goods. That is the I'm gonna tell you, that right there, it really brought back some memories for me, girl. I'm trying not to even get emotional about it, but it brought back some stuff for me. When you looked at yourself as damaged goods, what does that mean for you? What did it mean? What did it mean to you?
Well, then it meant, I was like one of the bad apples, sadly to say. And I started off life behind the eight ball. I mean, behind the eight ball, I started off, abused, an abused child, a
Mhm.
neglected child, sexually abused. So that's the first damage. That's
Yeah.
the first sign of damage or side of damage that I felt within myself, and I carried that for a very long time. And then when you add the different layers of
Yeah.
circumstances by choice or
Hmm.
or by proximity, that adds more and more damage to the person who I really was at the core. And not to
Hmm.
say that your circumstances make you, but in some circumstances they do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I didn't take the traditional path in life when it came to building my family, when it came to gaining my education. None of it was traditional. A lot of it was by circumstance and by, making, the wrong choices.
Hmm.
So there's so many different layers to that. The damages, there was just so many damages. It's just like kind of if you go to the grocery store and you knock a can off the shelf, that's a damaged good. And typically that is the one that you see on the clearance rack or whatever. And I had to recognize that, okay, I do have these blemishes. I do have these things. I did have children young. I was molested. I had all these things, but it doesn't mean that I should sell myself at a discounted value because I
No.
know my self-worth. But it took for me to understand my self-worth and really own it and stand in it to not to stop, giving myself away. And I talk about that in the third book,
Hmm.
don't give it all away. I was
Hmm.
giving it all away because I felt like that's what I deserved. I didn't deserve anymore.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was reading in the book where that's why my hair is standing up on my arms. And that's the part in your book where it sort of kind of brought back some memories for me
Mhm.
because I had always thought I was damaged goods. And I don't know if you got a chance to read my book, A Silent Scream, yet, but I talked about that, how I allowed men to come in and just use and abuse me. Well, why not? He's
Mhm.
giving me attention.
Mhm.
He's told me I was pretty.
Mhm.
He's territorial over me.
That means
Okay.
he loves me so much.
Yeah, he left me.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, and so it's so crazy. When I think about that, and I looked at myself as damaged goods because I was, sexually molested. My mother,
Mhm.
and I wasn't just sexually molested by one person. It was like I was being passed around the community. It felt like,
Mhm.
family, friends,
Yeah.
people down the street.
I can relate.
you know,
Yeah.
um, friends that I would meet, it was
Mhm.
crazy. So I felt like, I'm damaged goods. So who's gonna want me? As soon
Mhm.
as those men tell me anything that I wanted to hear, I'm like, oh, he loved me. We
Yeah.
go together now.
You know what? So for me, I don't think I ever allowed the who's gonna want me to penetrate
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
My issue was I was accepting whatever came my way. So if he
Mm.
liked me and I thought he was cute, I accepted that as such. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't think, and I don't want to make this sound weird, but like I never really had a problem with getting a man or with a
Mhm.
man wanting me. The problem was discerning who I should
Mhm.
choose. So me, I was like, oh, okay, getting chose, but getting chose ain't the end all to be all because everybody
Right.
that chooses me is not worthy of me. But it
Right.
took me years to realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. It took me a long time too. It did. It really did. And it's crazy. I've been married 7 times. This is
Wow.
my seventh marriage. And
Wow.
when me and my husband, we have a 30 some odd year history on off. It's crazy. It's a long story. And one
Yeah.
day me and him, we are going to get on the couch and talk about it because
Oh, I'm looking
it's
forward to
wild.
it.
Girl, it's wild. When I tell you we had a wild, we were just horrible people. And but when we eloped, so when we
Mhm.
eloped, I was happy at first because I'm like, this is the man of my dreams. I've
Yeah.
always been in love with him. This is the man that, I've always wanted. I've compared every man to him. That's who I wanted
Mhm.
to be with and all that good stuff. But then reality set in. And I had
Mm.
and that damaged goods thing came up
Oh,
where
wow.
I'm like, is this where I'm really supposed to be? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I moved all the way back to Ohio for him. And then
Mm.
I was like, no. I was here for like I think 10, 11 months, and then I left and went back to California for a year. Yeah,
Really?
because I was like, and not that I thought I made a mistake, but I had to think, I'm like, Venus, are you settling again? Like, what is
Mhm.
wrong with you? We've come too
Exactly.
far in our healing process for you to be acting like this and accepting. There was other things that was going on, and I'm thinking like you can't just accept this. And I went back to California. He came and
Okay.
got me, but and I think it was a blessing because I was able to actually like process all that out and understand
Mhm.
that I didn't make this decision because I was settling.
Yeah.
This is an amazing man. He's a really good man, and this is where I want to be. I do not like Ohio.
Listen, I'm from there, so I can
I,
relate.
now where are you now?
I'm originally from Toledo, Ohio, but I'm in
Right.
Columbia, South Carolina now. Yeah.
Oh, that is right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So how long you been in Columbia? Oh, that's right. Because I told you I lived there at one time.
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
you did.
Yep. Yep.
I've been here off and on for 18, going on 18 years.
Yeah.
I moved to Charleston in
Yeah.
2008, and then
Okay.
I came here 3 years later. I left for a little stint and then came back here. But
Okay.
I want to speak to something that you said about the damaged goods part and you second
Yeah.
guessing yourself because I
Yeah.
think that's so important to know. I actually I really think that relationship trauma will often put you in the position to self-sabotage relationships
Yeah.
with healthy relationships. You know, you'll start to question certain things in a relationship. You'll start to need more validation depending on what the trauma was. And I've been guilty of doing that so many times. And it took for me to not be in a relationship with anybody, not be
Mhm.
dating anybody, really do the time to really do the healing. I went through therapy, and understanding myself and understanding healthy relationships before I could stop pushing everybody away. I almost pushed a really good man away. And I'm so grateful that he was patient with me to allow me to heal through what I was healing through and go through what I was going through and be graceful with me because it requires a lot of grace. You know, when you're coming out of such toxicity in a relationship or multiple relationships, or even just toxicity in your family dynamic and things, trust ends up being the pinnacle of whether or not a relationship can survive or not. But if you have trust issues already from those relationships traumas, then it's difficult for you to even realize that, hey, this is a good person. Don't run from him. You know, lean
Yes.
into it. So that was just
Yeah.
something I noticed and when you were sharing about your husband, your
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. But well, how do you think that people can unlearn this stuff about themselves? About how at one time we felt we were damaged goods. How do you think that people can unlearn this about themselves?
I go by, and I use this in my business. I use this in my mentoring. I use this in my coaching. I use this in my parenting, and it is tried and true. True. I go back to the 5 why theory, and asking yourself why, questioning yourself. That's that deep, that shadow work, trying to understand why do I even think this way? Like,
Mhm.
what makes me think this about myself? You
Mhm.
know, I think I'm damaged good because, I had a baby early. Okay, but why? And just continue to drill down on that why until you get down to the root of it. And when you get to the root of the problem, that's when it's easier for you to untether from it and unlearn whatever the behavior is that is attached to it. So that's what I would say. But also having a trusted person to help you work through it.
Yes.
Being honest with yourself is one thing, and that is an absolute requirement to any type of healing. But
Mhm.
sometimes we have blind spots, and
Mhm.
there's parts of ourselves that we don't see. That's why it is so good to have good relationships because I believe relationships are mirrors. And I know Jewel probably talked about, the
Yes.
mirrors and the mirror doesn't
Yes.
lie, you
Yeah.
know. Excuse me, but relationships are mirrors to ourselves. And if you have great people in your life, like, a best friend, a confidant, a parent, whatever, those people, if those are people who are really for you, they're going to be the people to show you who you are. And they're
Right.
going to do it with grace and they're going to do it with love. I'm not talking about the people who are criticizing your every move, talking down on everything you want. That's not healthy, and those aren't your people. I'm
Right.
talking about the people that can tell you, no, Venus, you do have a habit of making, these bad choices under stress. You might want to take a step back. I
Mhm.
had a friend who loved her to death. Her name is Sharonda. And I would tell you, I got to the point, and we have been friends for, oh my God, it'll be close to 30 years, so over 20 years of friendship since high school. And I got to the point where when I knew I was on some, some stuff, I would be like, I'm not telling her nothing because I used to call her Mama Sharonda. I'm like, I
Uh,
can't tell Mama Sharonda I'm out here doing this because she gonna make me feel bad. But really, she was a good friend. She never um scolded me, but she was honest with me. And she just told me, like, Girl, you got a bad habit of letting go. Why you holding on to this person? What is
mhm.
it about them or what is it about you that got you holding on? So she challenges me. So I think it's important to have those types of relationships and hold those people close because those are going to people that are going to be a healing balm for you as you continue to evolve and heal through untethering from pain and thinking that you are damaged goods or whatever
Yeah.
those mindsets are.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? You said it could be a friend. Do you know who my person was? Or
Who?
is? It is
Your husband?
my 39-year-old daughter. She
Mm,
said, and when
yep.
she had to tell me the ugly truth, girl, I was sick. I'm
Mm,
serious. I was sick. I'm a person. I can accept criticism pretty well, but
yeah.
coming from your child, because it's like I'm the mother, you're the child. But in
Yeah.
that moment, it seemed like the roles were reversed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm estranged from two of my kids, from two of them. One that's 41, he's about to be 42, and then I
Mm-hmm.
have one that is just turned just turned 40. Yeah, she just
Mm-hmm.
turned 40, and I was in one of those cycles and those patterns when me and my kids we became estranged. We'll talk about that a whole nother time.
Okay.
But my baby girl, she said, "Mom, why do you keep making everybody else's problems your problem?"
Mm.
And I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Well,
Mm.
my oldest daughter, she's like, she's entitled or she feels entitled because you made her that way."
Mm.
And at first I was like, "Listen, I,
It was a little sting behind it,
I'm
wasn't
like,
it?
like, girl, you know what you talking about? I wanted to tell you, know what you talking about, but I had to listen. I had to take that in.
Mm-hmm.
She said every
Mm-hmm.
time, she about to fall, there you go. And then she told me one time, she said, what I do? Have a baby, get pregnant or something for you to pay more attention to me? She said, I'm your daughter
Mm-hmm.
too. And I was like, ooh, girl, I'm like that. It blew me away. It blew me away.
Wow.
But every time an issue come up with people, it's like they always coming over here because they felt like, well, they knew that, hey, oh, my gas is about to get cut off. Okay, hold on, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's problem always became mine. I always took on everybody else's
Wow.
problems. But now when when things like that come, I always
Mm-hmm.
hear my daughter's voice in the back of my head.
Yeah, that's good.
But she was so honest with me, and she did. She even said something about, my marriages, and the people that I chose, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it did but it was the truth. It was the truth,
Yeah.
and I knew it. It was something
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't face on my own. It's something she called me to the carpet on it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
hey, I had to get off that call and go lick my wounds and say, okay, now
Yep.
you've been she done told you she see you
Yeah.
and you need to do something different.
Those are the
So
type
yeah,
of relationships that challenge your growth, and
yeah,
you either grow or you regress. And when you
yeah,
regress, you stay stuck in that, you get
yeah,
back in the cycle, you get
yeah,
stuck. So
yeah,
we definitely need those kind of relationships.
yeah. And I want to be reminded of it too. I don't care if
Mm-hmm.
you see me going to the left. Hey, 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 come here.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Yeah,
all, I think what's important to note too for anybody that's listening, it's all about the way you do it. It's all about
absolutely.
like correcting somebody in love versus
Mhm.
criticizing and
Yes.
tearing somebody down. That's two different things.
Yes.
And you know, the old saying, the old adage, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it.
Mm.
That matters so much because it
Yeah.
also is very telling of your heart posture when it
Yeah.
comes to you wanting to correct somebody. So if
Yes.
you're looking to correct somebody or, you know, be honest with your friend or whoever, just consider how it comes out.
Mhm.
Consider what and consider why. Go back to
Yeah.
my five whys.
Yeah.
Consider why you feel the need that you need to say something. If it's
Right.
because you love them and you care about them, then come at them from love and
Yeah.
from a place of you want what's best from them, not
Mhm.
you're trying to be controlling of them or they're stepping outside of the lines of what you think that they should be doing.
Correct. Yeah, you're right about that. I actually had an incident last night with a young man, my family member's son,
Hmm.
and they were going through it, and I found myself sort of kind of trying to, I guess, help him. And then you're right. I asked myself that question because it seemed like, okay, the mother seemed like she got mad at me because I was telling her, well, you can't do this and this, that, and the other. And I had to ask myself, Venus, why? So why are you in this?
Hmm.
And when I realized that, Venus, you're in it because that goes back to how I used to feel about myself. If I'm not, if can I come and help this situation? You know,
Hmm.
making people's problems my problems, playing the superhero.
Hmm.
What you call it, the God complex?
Yep, the God complex. Everybody is not your assignment.
Right.
We say it, we
Exactly.
hear it, but we got to live it. That's the
Yeah.
thing. You got to live it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was able to shut up last night. I said, oh,
Hmm.
and I pulled back because I'm like, this is not your problem. This ain't even your business.
Doesn't it feel good when you find yourself in those places where you used to be in that cycle, but then you find yourself being able to push past it? It's just like, oh,
Yes.
pat on the back for me. I
Right.
didn't say nothing this
Exactly.
time.
Exactly. And it almost take you by surprise, like,
Yep.
like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
okay, girl, you are growing.
And the
Okay.
world kept turning.
Right. Period.
You had
Be
less
all
stress
right.
and more peace.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Robin, what would you say is like the ugliest part of your healing, like the ugliest part?
Oh, child. I feel like
But necessary, but necessary. Hmm.
every time I felt like it was a ugly part, a uglier part came.
Ooh,
I'll just share to date now, this is outside of damaged goods. And this I talk more about this in the Wisdom Wounds Untethered. This is a part of the Pieces of Peace theory.
okay.
My ugliest healing has been, and I know it's about to sound so simple, so I'm gonna break it down, truly putting myself first.
Yeah.
Again, coming out of that God complex, realizing everybody is not my assignment, realizing or remembering that I am not a junkyard. Everybody does not get to dump on me,
Oh,
but
wow.
primarily is putting myself first in a way that my decision matters. So before I decide to do anything for anybody, to show up for anybody, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people call it selfish, but it is self-preservation. I think about how it will affect me. I
Hmm.
didn't used to do that. And I'm going to say, I haven't fully shared this before, but I will share it. I'm not ashamed of it, but you know, I went through a lot in my marriage. I dealt with a lot in my marriage. And if I may be honest, my marriage, I got married in November. My marriage should have been annulled in January.
Oh,
It was really bad. I dealt with a lot. I'll say from infidelity to, you know, using escort services, like just it was a lot. It was a
mhm.
lot. I'm not gonna go into all of the nitty-gritty mess of it all, but I dealt with a lot in my marriage and I was married, I want to say, was I married? I don't even know how many years, maybe 8 years, something like that. And yeah, I think we were together 10, maybe married 8. But in that time, that man drugged me through the mud, okay?
Oh,
However, I allowed him to drag me through the mud because I kept going back. I kept
mhm.
staying, you know. It was one time, I'll share this because it's so funny. It was one time I was like, I'm leaving. You know, we were living in Alabama. I got my kids. I went and got me a hotel. You know, this man found me because he's like a tech guru. He hacked my phone. He did all these things and ended up finding me. And so it was like it was kind of like it was a little bit of a red flag kind of reflection of
Mhm.
Rodney.
Yeah.
Um, but he wasn't abusive at this point. And so, I went back. I shouldn't have
Mhm.
went back. I should have just went home, but I didn't. So it was it was the fact that I had taken him back through so much,
Mhm.
more than, although Rodney was physically abusive, he took me through way more than Rodney took me
Wow.
through.
Mhm.
Way more. And it didn't help that his family enabled him and they didn't care for me.
Oh
And
wow.
I'm sure they didn't care for me based on whatever lie, he would tell them about me. But I'm sure the next person is realizing like, oh, Robin wasn't lying and she wasn't playing. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's her struggle. But I took him back after all of those things, and I had just got to the point where I was settling in my marriage. It was just like, okay, I'm here, whatever, whatever he do, whatever, at this point, it's what it is. I'm gonna just live my life. I'm gonna build my business. I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna, go back to school, pour into me and just cultivate my own life on my own.
Mhm.
The, the problem what came in when he went overseas and he came home. And when he came home, I knew something was off, but I couldn't really put my finger on what the thing was or whatever. And then when he came home, he would come up missing for like a month and be like, "Oh, I got orders." And whole time he's somewhere else with somebody else. He was not on orders. And this last time he came home, he uh he set up his game. He said he used to play was the Xbox. He set
Mhm.
up his Xbox and the game had to update. And
Mhm.
usually what I've learned from being with a gamer is usually when you have to update it as soon as you set it up, you haven't played it in a while.
Yeah.
But he had just told me a few days later that, I mean, before that he couldn't answer because he was playing the game with his cousin supposedly at his mom's house, but he
Mhm.
hadn't been on that game. He just had the
Mhm.
game with him. And so when I came in and I started questioning him, he I started questioning him and he started being defensive. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I just like, excuse me, I hope I can cuss on here, but I was just like, fuck it. I went outside, I sat on the porch. I was like, I'm not doing this with you. So I went on the porch and I was just sitting out there. And he came out there and he was like, I want a divorce. And I'm like, I know you lying. Like, you don't get to tell me you want a divorce from me when I done went through all of your shit all these years, took you back, and you mean to tell me you get to decide that you want to leave? And he said, I
What?
got to make a decision based for the best decision for me. And it was at that moment that I realized I can't be mad at you because I should have been doing that the whole time.
Mhm.
And I
Yes,
did.
ma'am.
I was making decisions for my family. I was making decisions for everybody else, but I wasn't making the best decision for myself either.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
envied him in that moment. I
Yeah.
literally envied him like, he was able to come and stand before me and say what he wanted, putting himself first. And I never did that in these 8 years. So
Wow.
that was the ugliest thing I'll say. I had to give you all of that, but that was the ugliest thing I'll say that I had to heal from because it was just like I consistently made bad choices based on everything around me and everybody
Yeah.
connected to me. And
Mhm.
and rarely were those choices based solely on what I wanted to do or what was best for me. And that's where I messed up. So choosing myself, I didn't want to start off with saying choosing myself, but
Yeah.
choosing myself was the ugliest lesson I ever had to learn because a lot of the things that I had went through in life was because I did not do that.
Wow. When you did that for yourself, gave yourself that gift, did you seem like you felt like you was alone, like everybody left in that, like when you started saying, I'm first, I'm number one, I'm putting me before everybody. Did you feel alone? Did you feel like everybody just like abandoned you or anything like that?
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm asking that question is because that's something that I have put into practice since my daughter said to me, why you make everybody's problem your problem?
Hmm.
It's like, it is okay to put me first. But
Yeah.
since that's happened, I'm lonely. Like I'm lonely. So I mean, like, how did that
So
make you? Yeah, how did that turn out? How did it make you feel?
over time, it definitely it makes you feel away.
Yeah.
Your phone rings less. I go days my phone don't ring, but the peace that I have The
Yeah.
people I no longer have to fix, the people who are no
Mm.
longer dumping on me about their shitty
Yes.
marriages that they too
Yep.
scared to come out of and XYZ, I have peace.
Yeah.
So yes, it absolutely is a level of pruning that you don't prepare yourself for, because I'm the person who has made the prayer, Lord, I release everybody who isn't for me out of my life, but then subconsciously I'm thinking like, I know it don't mean this person, this person, this person, and this
Right.
person. The whole time, all those people are the things that are really holding me back. And so, to be honest with you, it was very lonely. And I say lonely. I wouldn't even call it lonely because I was dealing with so many other things. I didn't have time to be lonely, to be honest with you. But you do feel alone, and you feel like people have abandoned you because you've chosen yourself. And the reality of it is, those people weren't supposed to be in your life anyway.
Right.
Because if choosing me makes you have a problem with me or abandon me, you were never meant to be in my life. And you were only in my life based on what you could get from me,
Right.
based on the aesthetic of being friends with me, based on the fact that I may have upgraded your fashion or different parts of your life. So at the end of the day, you weren't for me. I
Yeah.
might have been for you, but
Yeah.
you weren't for me. But the problem is, me being for you and consistently for you has caused me to abandon myself. And when I took my power back and started pouring those things back into me, it made a lot of people, walk away. They
Yeah.
they do, they walk away, or they shed away, or they are turned off by
Yeah.
the fact that you're no longer prioritizing them. I'm sorry, you're not my priority. I am.
Hmm. And you know what's so sad about that is that I never expected it to be my children.
Mm-hmm.
These babies, these ones, they were my reason for living, you know.
Yeah.
And when I decided, no, things got to change. Things
Yeah.
have to change, and I'm first. I'm number one. And I tell people that in a minute. Now I don't have a problem with it. It's like, yeah, let me see how that's gonna make me feel. Just like
Mhm.
you said, how's that gonna work for me?
Yep.
That's even with work. I was one. I used to work a million hours because can you? Because I'm a nurse. So if
Mm-hmm.
they fall, they short. Oh, can you? Sure, no problem, no problem. Now it's like, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. And they sit and they wait for the explanation. Why did you say no?
No, no
It's
explanation
just
needed.
just no.
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 Yep.
Yeah,
And
that
that's a
doesn't work for
powerful
me. So,
thing.
yeah. It is. It is those two little bitty words. And I have a book I wrote. It's called The Power of Hell No.
Oh,
And
I haven't read that one. So
yes, honey.
I've only read cutoffs, and I'm not quite finished with
Yeah.
it. I'm almost finished with it, but
Mhm.
I've only read cutoffs, so I got some catching up to do myself.
Yeah, me too, girl. I can't, girl, but your books, I can't wait. Ooh, I want to see what happened to Rodney. Girl,
Yeah,
I wanted to
girl.
fight him. Ooh. But anyway, I
Everybody wants to fight
digress.
Rodney.
Digress.
But the power of hell no.
Yeah, hell no.
Hell no.
Because it's like
Okay.
when you hell no.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love it.
it's the power of hell no, honey. And I wrote it in Spanish version too, because I want people to
Right.
understand that when my no means no, and that's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I said, listen, if you don't know how to tell people no, say no and then run. You know,
That's good though.
go somewhere and cry. Do whatever you need to do. But the word no is no. My no is no. And
Yeah.
and now people know, and that's why I was saying, like, it feels so lonely because it's like those people that I had to say no to, and like I'm gonna tell you this, I hate even saying it on air, but I'm gonna say it. My daughter, my oldest daughter, I love her. That was like my best friend, which I shouldn't have
Hmm.
never done. We were just not friends.
Yeah.
I served a purpose in your life, and the purpose
Yeah.
was whatever you needed, bills paid, cars, whatever, babysitters, whatever. I served a
Hmm.
purpose, but I was never your friend. I should
Hmm.
have always, stayed the mother and
Yeah.
played the mother role, and that's it. You
Yeah.
know, but it was like I'm telling you, when I had to start telling her no, it was like, what? She really like got an attitude about that. And
Hmm.
then the stronger I got in my no, the more powerful I got in my no. I was able to say things like, yeah, I'm not having that no more. I
Mm-hmm.
had to ask her and her children to leave one of my properties. She was living in my property. You have to leave. And
Yeah.
it was difficult. I cried, and it still hurt.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, if if I exercise no here one day and then the next day, pulling back from that, you're not gonna take me serious.
Mm-mm.
So no, I'm not gonna accept no more of your behavior, and you need to go. You
Yeah.
and your children. Love you. You know.
Yeah.
But what would you say? Did you say? Do you feel like there was a time when you was like, fuck this. I'm done with this healing stuff. I'm just gonna go back over here where it's comfortable. I don't have to deal with this and people being mad at me and abandoning me, and I'm sitting over here lonely and whatever. Was there ever a time?
A time where I got tired of healing, absolutely. 100%. However, I didn't necessarily go back. I called it a
Mm,
pause. You know, I,
I like
I
that.
called it a pause. I took a pause because, consistently doing the work, the healing, it's an exercise. And I wrote a book, a journal called Infinite Healing, The Metamorphosis of a Grieving Soul. And so
Mm,
understanding that healing is infinite kind of changed the perspective for me because you
mhm,
do get tired of being healing. You do get tired of being in your growth stage. And I think that it's fair. When that butterfly is in a cocoon, he is resting.
mm,
They're resting. And
yeah.
so that pause for me is the place of rest, not
Mm,
necessarily the place. Now, sometimes, you do regress. You do, take on maybe some more bad habits or whatever in that process. But the understanding needs to be that this is a pause point. This isn't
yeah.
a stopping point.
Yeah.
It's a pause for you to collect yourself, to
Hmm.
reconcile with everything that you have learned and grown
Hmm.
through and gone through, and then
Hmm.
you take your time after you have re-energized and gotten over the fatigue of,
Yeah.
I call it personal development fatigue. After
Yeah.
you've gotten over personal development fatigue, you need to
Hmm.
come up with a strategy and you need to get back to it, get back
Hmm.
to the healing. But
Hmm.
yeah, the loneliness, I think for me, the loneliness doesn't it doesn't penetrate me so much, primarily because I felt alone my whole life. I grew up the
Mm.
only girl. I talk about how I grew up in my household, and so I was always a good self-entertainer. I did things by myself all the time. I still do. I travel by myself. I take myself out on dates, and I don't feel lonely. I enjoy my company. I enjoy
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
and what I learned is two things. The majority of the people who were filling space in my life, I was giving more than I was getting.
Oh
That's
wow.
number one. I
Hmm.
was doing more pouring, more uplifting, more donating, more nurturing, more everything for everybody else. And so honestly, for me, the people that I have lost were not losses.
Yeah.
They were removing dead weight. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I have some really great memories with people who I will never talk to again. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. I can appreciate we had a great season, but
Mm-hmm.
baby, I don't want that back. I don't want any
Hmm.
of it back. It was too heavy. I
Yeah.
don't want to deal with it. And
Yeah.
I'm cool. And what
Hmm.
I would say too about that is when you allow those relationships that aren't for you to fall away naturally, or if they're ripped away, if you allow them to stay out of your life, what will happen is, and this has been so beautiful in my life over these last few years, but what will happen is you will have time to fully cultivate the relationships that matter, and you'll see who is truly for you. When I tell you, it took for me at one point, I'd broken up, I say broken up with like a best friend. And I had this other friend that I was friends with, but that more all of my time and energy and effort was into that other relationship, right? So when you're
Hmm.
not putting that energy there, you can put it into your other relationships. But what the thing was with this other one, this girl, I call her my sister Boo Bae, Trina, she showed
Hmm.
me what healthy friendships feels like and
Hmm.
what it looks like. And the more I cultivated my relationship with her, the more I realized that most of my relationships and friendships were extremely toxic. And I don't fault those people or
Oh.
call those people being toxic people. I
Hmm.
just think that sometimes relationship by proximity breed toxic habits.
Yeah.
We may high school. Most
Yeah.
of our habits and our, the foundation of our relationship is high school.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And so
Yeah.
the way that we work through problems in high school is we get an attitude, or, we go quiet. But in adult relationships, it
Hmm.
requires conversation. It
Right.
requires being mature enough to have a hard conversation, mature enough to agree to disagree, to be
Hmm.
able to communicate in love and not have to be, barking at each other or disrespecting each other or any of that stuff. And sadly, a lot of my relationships were rooted in this very passive, aggressive, judgmental space, which
Wow.
which isn't even who I am. The things
Hmm.
that make me cringe. I'm not a person who can sit in a room while y'all sitting up talking about other people, because now I'm
Right.
looking at you like, well, I
Hmm.
know all her business. So when she walk in the room, I feel awkward.
Hmm.
That's not
Yeah.
healthy.
Right.
That's not healthy. And
Right.
so say that to say, allowing those relationships to fall away, it didn't make me lonely, but it allowed me to cultivate the right relationships. And through cultivating the right relationships, it may helped me to also identify the wrong relationships and decide how to navigate those. In
Hmm.
some of those instances, I let the relationships just die. It was
Yeah.
like, it ain't even worth my energy to try to have a conversation, because I know what I know, I feel what
Yeah.
I feel, and I'm good. But
Yeah.
then you have the times when you do care enough about a person and you want to fix it, you want to grow, you
Right.
want your relationship to grow.
Right.
Sadly, not everybody will be ready to grow.
Hmm.
And what I had to find, a really close friend that I had, we had a great relationship. It was really great. We could finish each other's sentences. We understood each other's pain without saying anything. But the
Hmm.
saddest part about it is when I tried to be open and honest with her about how I was feeling, she wasn't ready to receive that. She took it as a personal attack. She
Hmm.
took it as me being accusatory, and it wasn't that. It was just, I owe you more. You deserve more than what I'm giving you. And the
Hmm.
reason why I'm not giving you what I should be giving you is because I need to heal through some things that
Hmm.
I've noticed in our friendship, that I continue to, I've had this push-pull relationship with her for a
Yeah.
few years.
Hmm.
And I had to be honest about that. And being
Hmm.
honest about that caused our relationship to die, when my thought was that it would grow us closer and stronger.
Oh,
But
wow.
sadly, she wasn't in a position to receive what I was delivering. And that's
Hmm.
okay. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So you have to be ready also to, for people not to be ready to receive. Everybody
Yeah.
doesn't heal on the same
Hmm.
frequency,
Hmm.
and everybody is not going to be ready to have certain conversation at the same time. But healthy relationships,
Hmm.
even if they're not ready, like my friend Trina, like I was saying, like with her, even if she ain't ready to talk about something, or I ain't, we will both say, and she's also a therapist too, so I think that makes it
Oh.
it makes it easier too.
Uh-huh.
But we'll both be like, sis, I ain't talking about that right now, but we can talk about that at another time. And it's okay. I'm not
Hmm.
mad at her. I'm not talking about her behind her back to my other friends. It's
Right.
none of that. It's all love.
Yeah.
So yeah, the loneliness don't live here. I just
Yeah.
have better, deeper, richer relationships with the people who mean me well.
Yeah. And you know what? That's so crazy because since those people are not here, I have two best friends, but they're in California. And we're still
Hmm.
really, really, really close.
Yeah.
Or like it's like the everyday, associates and things like that. They're not here anymore.
Hmm.
And which I now understand that's a good thing because look what happened. I
Hmm.
ended up meeting Robin.
Yes,
May
yes.
not have met you. I think you're
Right.
you're right. It leave room for those who are meant to. There's no way in the world if your road is congested. I'm not going
Yep.
down that road then. I'm gonna have to go somewhere else. Your
Hmm.
road is too congested.
Hmm.
I'm not going down there. So I do
Yeah.
believe that I had a whole bunch of people there. Like I ride
Mhm.
motorcycles, I ride Harleys. So and I was in a motorcycle club and everything. And I loved it. I
Mhm.
really loved it. The sisterhood and all this, that, and the other. But for some reason, I knew that I shouldn't have been there, especially this last
Yeah.
club I was in. I just shouldn't have been there. The girls did not treat me well,
Mhm.
and I knew that I should not have been there. And that
Yeah.
seemed like that was the start of everything. So when I left that club, I came here. I don't really have friends here, and I have a lot of family here, but we just don't have relationships,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have an aunt that I totally adore, but she's she's off on her own thing too. She's a
Yeah.
therapist. So she's
Okay.
off like trying to find herself. She's 60 some odd
Mhm.
years old out here dating and running the streets. But
Yeah. Go,
but
Auntie.
yeah. So initially, and when I say lonely, I don't mean lonely either like, oh, well, it's me and I'm lonely. And no, not
Mhm.
like that. It's just that I'm so used to people
Yeah.
being here, you know,
Yeah.
being surrounded by somebody, the motorcycle club,
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
kids, my friends, you know, and they're not here.
Mhm.
So it is a sense of loneliness. However, I do enjoy it because I
Yeah.
am an introvert extrovert.
Mhm.
So it's like I enjoy it because now it's so crazy. I have a nonprofit and I'm able to really I'm really building, you know, onto that
Yeah.
nonprofit. I'm really trying to get that up and off the ground. I didn't have time for that before because there were people there. People there
Yeah.
that had no business being there. And
Mhm.
you know, just like my podcast, I used to do podcasts way back where I just did it on YouTube. And I can remember I
Mhm.
got so good at it. And it's like Venus, this is the time. Restart it. This is something you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And initially, when I, you know, first started, I'm nervous. I'm still trying to learn this thing. But now I can do that because I don't have all those distractions over there with people
Yep.
that don't even belong in my space. And then, not to
Mhm.
mention, you know, before, like when I was here in Ohio before, me and my husband had so much turmoil in our marriage because of people, because of
Yep.
everybody else about what y'all, because y'all mad because we elope. Y'all mad because we elope, but we grown, you
It's
know.
our marriage.
So yeah, it's marriage. But
Yeah.
ever since those people are not there. Me and him, first of all, that's my homeboy. Okay,
Yeah.
that's my best friend. So
Yeah.
it's like I love being around him, but I let him do his thing. He's a master mechanic and he has a trucking company and all that good stuff. So he's
Mhm.
always working. And I don't
Yeah.
stress about that. I let him do your thing, baby. Do
Get
your
that money,
thing.
honey.
You know. But you're right. Let me ask you this too. Do you think that because a lot of people, you know, they don't deal with God, but do you think that faith played a big part of your healing?
Whew, faith played a large part of my healing. One thing that I didn't discuss, and I think this is a good segue, um, outside of, everything I went through with Rodney, all
Hmm.
the other things that you will read about in the other books. I don't want to fully
Yeah.
spoil it, but I,
Yeah.
I do talk about relationships breaking. I talk about moving across the country with young children. I talk about getting into altercation and it turning into having felonies against me, so having to go through that with court. I went through a lot of things, and in the most recent past, I actually was diagnosed with a condition called Chiari malformation. It's a brain condition where
Mm.
your brain is pretty much malformed, and so your
Mm.
cerebellum and your cerebellar tonsils, they suck through the occipital hole with
Mm-hmm.
occipital hole where foramen, where the spinal cord, the spinal
Mm-hmm.
stem forms the spinal cord. But what happens is when it comes through that hole, the cerebellum and cerebellar tonsils compress onto the brain stem, causing a bunch of neurological issues,
Oh,
um,
wow.
and extreme pressure in the brain. And so I was undiagnosed my whole life, but I was diagnosed with type 1, which you're typically diagnosed with earlier in age. And that caused me to also have high blood pressure. And that blood pressure was from the pressure in my head. It wasn't from my diet or my weight or anything like that. For the most part, I've always been pretty thin. And
Mm-hmm.
so, fast forward, I was diagnosed in 2020 and I was symptomatic, but then COVID happened. I was diagnosed only about 2 months before COVID. And
Mm-hmm.
so they were talking about treatment at the time. And because I was having all these symptoms, like I was falling all the time, I have scars all over my body. I was falling all the
Whoa.
time. I was getting dizzy. It would be times I would be driving, I would have to pull over because the whole world is spinning. I was having trouble with sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not sleeping. I couldn't stay awake. I was so fatigued. I would sleep for 16 hours a day sometimes. My hair was coming out in handfuls. Like it was a myriad of different symptoms that I was having when I first got diagnosed. And that took me, I think I went through doctor after doctor for like a year. That took a year to get that diagnosis, and then COVID. And so I didn't, I wasn't going to the doctor to get any of the treatments because they really wanted me to just have Botox treatment. But I didn't think it was super important, especially during COVID, because they were only trying to treat the headaches, not all the other neurological symptoms. So it was just like, oh, okay, this is a wash. And Chiari is something that can't be cured. It's just what it
Mm.
is. And so, fast forward to 2021, I had one of my vertigo spells while I was in the shower, and I fell out of the shower and I hit my torso, like the way I was in my divorce apartment at the time, and I hit my torso on the either the tub or the toilet, and I hit my head on the scale, and I thought I blacked out, but I didn't. I just remember opening my eyes, being surprised that I was alive because I was in the shower. I had lost balance and I went to grip for the shower bar. And my shower bar is like, the ones at the hotel where they curve out. And
Yes.
I didn't reach far enough. And so when I reached, I fell and I fell out of the shower. And that resulted in me, I started having more problems. I started having speech problems. I had a stutter. I couldn't remember my words. Like I couldn't remember a computer was a computer. It was almost like I had had a stroke. It was really bad. I had a limp. I couldn't, like, my gait was off. So you being a nurse, you understand some of these terms,
Uh,
so I can say them.
right.
So yeah, my gait was like extremely off. So when I was walking, it was just like this, like a
Yeah.
wobble type walk. It was all these things. And but when I realized I was in trouble, I was leaving work because I didn't go to the hospital. I just, I wasn't in pain at the time. And, I've been working out, so I was in really good shape. And so I was just like, I just blew it off or whatever. A few days later, I was leaving work, and from like my thighs all the way down, I was just trying to walk and it was hard for me to walk. My legs felt like cement was in them. And so I'm like, okay, let me call my doctor. Maybe I need a different blood pressure medicine, whatever. I'm not even thinking about the fall because the fall had happened, days prior. And
Mm-hmm.
so I called my doctor's office and I was just like, this lady answered the phone. I feel like she's one of my angels, but she answered the phone. She was a black lady. She was a black scheduler. She answered the
Mm-hmm.
phone and I told her what my symptoms are. She said, baby, I'm not scheduling, an appointment. And I'm like, why? She said, you are having a heart related event. You need to go to the emergency room right away. And I'm like,
Oh,
I don't have no heart problems. Like, can we just, I've been doing this and I had this since I was 18. Because the blood pressure I had been treating since 18, but they couldn't figure out why I was having blood pressure issues. They didn't
yeah.
never diagnose me with the Chiari.
Yeah.
And so I'd already been through I know the routine, when I start having symptoms, we change my medication, up the dosage, whatever. Girl, I ain't having no heart problem. She said, please listen to me. Can you please just go to the ER? If they check you out, then I make you an appointment. And I'm like, all right. So I go to the ER. Long story short, I go to the ER. Come to find out, and everything happened so fast. I was in cardiac tamponade. And so, yeah,
Oh,
so I have fluid on my heart. For those of you who don't know what cardiac tamponade is, I have fluid around my heart and it was impeding my heart's ability to beat properly. And I could have been in cardiac
mm-hmm.
arrest at any moment. And so I
Mm-hmm.
ended up having emergency surgery that next day. And then 8 months later, I had brain surgery to correct the Chiari, even though it can
Yeah.
be corrected by cure. And I had a cranial decompression. And so I'm sharing that because, one thing with the cardiac, after the cardiac tamponade, I end up back in the hospital 2 weeks later, and that's when they diagnosed me with congestive heart failure at
Oh,
40.
wow.
At 40. They told me because my pump function was only, my ejection fraction was only about 45%, that most people don't live past 5 years. I'm going into year five and I could never have felt better. So I share all of this to say, like, doom and gloom. Like, the picture of my life was doom and gloom,
Yeah.
going through all of these things. You've read about the Rodney thing. I've told you about moving across country, but without faith, I would have been dead and gone 10 times over. I
Yeah.
know that for sure. And so my faith in God has definitely been the cornerstone of my healing, of my
Mm-hmm.
success. and my growth and my ability to have peace.
Yeah.
So absolutely, faith is it. God is this my source. He's my source. I can't
Yes.
say anybody
Yeah.
else's,
You're
but
right.
he's my source.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, we
yeah,
girl.
I know that was a lot,
Listen,
but I was like,
girl, every time I think I know a little something, here's something else. Girl, like
it's a
Jesus.
lot.
And you look good. Like you look
Thank
good.
you.
You don't even look like what you've been through.
Thank
Period.
you.
Which
Thank
bring me to my
you.
next question. What does your healing even look like? What does it look like for you? I can see this. But my God, girl.
Okay, so it's that's loaded, but it
Yeah.
is, it's hard work primarily,
Yeah.
physical and non-physical. But it took for me to, like I said, putting myself first
Yeah.
was definitely the pivotal moment for me when it comes to bringing it all together.
Yeah.
Um, I listened to what the doctors told me because they declared me disabled. I went back to work. I'll tell about that in a minute. But I was declared disabled. I'm supposed to be collecting the SSI check and just sitting here with my feet up. But I knew within my soul that that wasn't my end. And
Yeah.
so putting myself first, challenging myself,
Mhm.
I told you I had the problem with walking, and this is
Yeah.
pre-decompression. And so I
Mm.
was on bed rest for a little while, and then finally I said, you know what? I woke up one day and I said, I'm gonna do a little bit every day. Because
Mhm.
I used to be competitive. I used to
Yeah.
run. I used to work out. I would get up at 4 a.m. to be at the gym. Like that's that
Yeah.
girl. That's who I
Yeah.
was. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I'm gonna do a little bit every day. So it started with me doing yoga, like teaching myself yoga. I just got a book and I was doing it from home. I started hiking. That's when I learned my
I
love for
love hiking.
hiking. I
Love it.
started, and at first it was kind of like, okay, what if something that happens to me? What if, because I would do it by myself and God would just always be like, I got you. And so
Yeah.
I would start little, there's this beautiful park here. It has a lake trail. It's so beautiful. It has a makeshift waterfall. And that was like my little healing space, if you will. And
Uh-huh.
so I started by going to that trail and I would
Mhm.
just walk a little bit
Mhm.
every day. And I turn around and go back to my car, go back home. I did a little bit. So
Yeah.
just challenging myself until I finished the entire trail. And then I
Yeah.
started the trail 2 times. So
Yeah.
it was like I couldn't just take what doctor said and let that be my end. And I think that's where a
Yeah.
lot of people fall short. I'm not saying that you can outrun death,
Mhm.
but where our minds go, that's
Mhm.
where our body follows.
Mhm.
And I just would not accept anything
Mhm.
the doctors told me. So to that point, acceptance, right? So I said I wouldn't accept what the doctors told me. However, there are some things that you have to accept in order to heal. And for me, it was the difference of, I woke up Robin Major-Oliphant, the one who could be competitive, the one who could run, the one who was in the gym all the time. And after, that hurt situation, I was never the same. And
Yeah.
so I had to accept the old Robin not coming back, and that's
Right.
okay. Who is
Mhm.
the new Robin? Let's cultivate her.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't run 5Ks anymore. We'll start walking. You
Mhm.
can't lift anymore. Change your diet. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? You don't want to be stressed anymore. Change your conversations. Change the people you're in the room with, you know, and going back to work, even that, it was like, okay, supply chain industry was shot after COVID, and I was in supply chain. And so it was like, okay, they saying I can't go back to work. Let me go do something else. And
Yeah.
I did. And
Yeah.
that has been the very different. So all of those things, it's just been a paradigm shift of the mind and not
Mhm.
accepting, the finality of my diagnosis and things,
Mhm.
but also being realistic with myself and realizing like, okay, the old me isn't coming back, but that's okay. Who is
Mhm.
the new me? Who will the new me be? I get to
Mhm.
co-create with my God who I'm gonna be and who I show up as on the other side of
I
all.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm taking that.
Yes, you should. That's what it's here
Taking that.
for.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Like,
Hmm.
oh, I get to recreate. And you know what? And
Yes,
that's so crazy because I have a program that's called Creating the New You. So I
yeah,
have never been able to launch that, and I can't wait to even like dive into that some more too. And I'm
yeah,
excited about what's to come. You know,
yes,
all the new people that I'm going to be meeting. And I asked God, I said, listen, I'm asking you to order my footsteps. And
yeah,
I'm asking you to bring me my tribe. I'm
yep.
not trying to chase people no more. I'm not trying to, oh, are
Hmm.
you my tribe? Are you my tribe? Are you my
Hmm.
friend? I'm not doing that. I want it to be organic, and I
Yeah,
want it like it just I want it to feel like, oh, you're supposed to be here. You were supposed to have been
yep,
here. Now I
yep.
understand that there was other things that was in the way, but you were supposed to
Hmm.
have been here. And I'm just waiting for my tribe to show up,
Let me
honey.
tell
I
you
really
this, and
am.
I just gave this talk during a panel at work, and it's so true. Like I said, a lot of the things I say, they span beyond relationships and personal. They also go in professional. But when you show up as your authentic self and
Yes.
you stay true to you,
Hmm.
your people are gonna come. Your
Yeah.
people are gonna gravitate to you regardless of that. It's when we
Yes.
chase and when we try to conform and shape shift is when
Hmm.
we get all the wrong people in our lives and get mixed up in all of the junk of it all. But just stay grounded and stay true to yourself. The right people will come. That's how me and Jewel got here.
I know. I listen, and man, I just adore y'all. I don't even know y'all, and I just adore that Jewel
I love
girl.
her.
Like I'm like I know she's not that young, but I'm like, oh, that's my daughter. Her. I love her, and I told her, I said I want to talk to you too about something I got in mind. So, but
Yeah, yes.
let me ask you this too, and I guess we got to get out of here. Dang.
Okay.
But
Okay.
anyway, how do you protect your peace these days?
So protecting my peace looks more like letting my no be my no, letting my yes be my yes, and being sure within myself and trusting myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of times, people see, oh, I got to protect my peace, so I'm cutting everybody off. It
Mm-mm.
ain't, I don't even let it get to that point. If
Right.
I don't want to do it, I ain't doing it. If
Mm.
I want to do it, I am doing it. I'm not explaining myself to anybody. I don't owe anybody anything. And I have heart failure. I don't have time to be tight in my chest about nothing, about
Right.
nothing at
Right.
all. So
Right.
for me, it goes back to loving myself first every day, putting myself first every day. And again, it's not selfish. We try to avoid being selfish by being a people pleaser and putting everybody else first. I can be a servant and I can serve my community, but still be selfish and put myself first.
Right.
So protecting my peace looks like putting Robin first. Is
Mm-hmm.
this good? Is this a good idea for Robin? Would
Mm-hmm.
participating in that, how would that affect me? How would that
Mm-hmm.
affect my finances? How would that affect it? It just goes back to me though. I lived my life so long. I started off as a parent at 18. I
Mm-hmm.
lived my whole life worrying about other human beings. My
Mm-hmm.
children are grown and they are thriving and they are doing their life. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let adult children be adult children and mind their business, and I mind my business. So that's another thing. Protecting my peace, minding myself and my own business.
Yeah. I love that. And I wish that girl, I wish we had more time because I got other questions. Like, I have some other questions, like, even when it came to like your childhood and your kids and,
Yeah.
raising them. And I know in your book you spoke about, the not even knowing what love was that,
Mhm.
and not, I guess, not experiencing it from your own
Yeah.
mother and stuff. So there's a lot of things I wanted to talk to you about, but I
We
guess we
can
go
we
wait
can
till
do it
next time.
again.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes, we
We
can.
can
Yeah.
if your listeners want to hear me come back, I'm willing to come back as many times as you like.
Please do, because I want you to,
Yeah.
because I mean, you have a lot. And let me tell you what's so crazy, because when I was reading this book, I said, this is my story. This is my
Yeah.
story, not
Mhm.
to a T, but you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
my mother,
Relatable.
that was my girl. I loved her, but my mom had a mental health issue. She walked out on us, left
Mhm.
us. And so when You talk when you spoke about not getting that love. I never had nobody hug me. I never had nobody tell me that they love me. And as a child growing up, I didn't have that. I really
Oh,
didn't. So I didn't understand what that was. And when I got grown, going through all these niggas that I went through. Excuse my language, y'all, I'm sorry,
no,
but
you
going through all
good.
these men that I went through, it was always because, oh, you so pretty. Oh, you got a nice body. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was love. So
Yeah,
I can't wait to
yeah,
have more conversations
yeah,
with you. And I love being able to talk about these things because it's part of my healing, you
yeah.
know. And I can't say, this is another thing too. People think that there's this aha moment, I'm healed. It don't work
Mm-mm.
like that.
No.
Healing is a journey. It's a journey. And by the time we reach that destination, we are on the other side of the dirt. So
Yeah,
all I know is that with my healing, I am trying to help other women come
yeah,
along. This time I'm not chasing them. You have to
yeah,
come over here. You got to say this is what I need, because I'm also a life coach. So it's like
yeah,
I remember when I started my journey as a life coach, it was hard
yeah.
because it was like I was taking on everybody's stuff. And I
Yep.
said, no, this isn't what I want to do.
No.
you
You're
know,
not a junkyard.
no, I am not a junkyard. So now I don't chase. You have to come over
Mhm.
here and you gotta want it. You
Yeah,
just have to want it. Me, I was desperate for it. So
yeah,
I paid so many therapists, so many life coaches, and girl, I wanted it desperately.
yeah.
So, but Robin, listen, it was so amazing having you. I can't wait for you to come back. Can you let everybody know where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me if you want any information on my books or just to connect with me through publishing, you can go to one2empower.com. That's ONE, the number two, MPOWER.com. You can also find me on Instagram under One to Empower and email one to empower at Gmail. So I don't have a big presence on Facebook anymore for One to Empower, but I do have a presence on um, Instagram. So that's how you can find me. It's consistent across the board.
Okay. And before you go, what is something that you just want to leave with everybody?
Oh, I would say you are not your story. Your
Mhm.
story is use your story as a tool to catapult you forward and to empower the next person. So often we get caught up in what happened to us, thinking that that is who we are. It's not who you are. It is a gift that you have been given, and it is now a part of your purpose. So I would say take that and lead with that. Don't hide from it and don't run from it.
Amen, Henry. All right. Well, I look forward to talking to you more, and I can't wait for you to come back and
Thank you
continue
for
our
having me.
conversation. We got a lot of stuff to unpack, and I'm just excited for it. I'm excited
So
for it.
am I.
All
So am
right.
I.
All right, honey. Well, you have a good one. Okay, you guys. Thank you for
Thank
joining Couch
you.
Conversations again. See you later. Talk to you soon, okay?
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Are you still recording?